this morning. It's a beautiful morning here in Sydney. The sun is shining. We've got lots of blue sky. I actually managed to go for a beautiful walk this morning with a very good friend of mine, a awesome woman called Kelly Slezzer. And Kelly is an expert in all things digital. She works very closely with retailers and anybody that's moving into that online space in terms of how do they get cut through in this big world of online. And she was telling me about some of her projects that she's working on. So nothing better than an early morning run and a chat. And for us, we were running along Manly Beach, so it's pretty beautiful and pretty awesome. And we actually bumped into some other good friends of ours, which some of you may know, a wonderful couple called Taki Moore and Kira Marie Moore. So there you go, my cup has been filled this morning. So wonderful to see you here this morning. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, if you like what you hear by the end of this live stream, it would be great if you could subscribe to my channel. And you'll see down there is a little button, a little bell. It'd be great if you could click that too. In that way you'll get announcements as we load up videos into this YouTube channel. There will be more videos going into YouTube over and above these live streams. What I'm starting to do is slowly load up into that channel lots of how-tos, lots of tips and tools as to how to really improve your networking skills, your confidence, your capability, so that you can actually build really strong networks, really great strategic partnerships that are going to absolutely help you move from where you are today to where you want to go, that are going to help you scale your business, that are going to ensure you've got the right people around you as you really step forward and step much closer to those business goals and those dreams of financial freedom and success, whatever they are. So if you're on YouTube watching this, it'd be great if you can subscribe. Let's take that off for now. And the other place you can follow what I do is in my Facebook group. So jump on over to this Facebook group, Networking Skills for Entrepreneurs. This is a place again where I'm giving lots of learnings, lots of tips, lots of tools, lots of videos, lots of units, and also introducing my network to people that are part of this group. This is all about connection. It's all about collaboration. And ultimately, it's about knowing that together we can absolutely achieve more. So if you would love to join me over there, it'd be great to see you there. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Let me just take that off. Here we go. So today, I want to talk about this concept of how do you manage the dream stealers that appear in your world. We've all got them, haven't we? These people that don't necessarily fuel our dreams. These people that almost put out our fire, that fuel our lack of self-belief, the naysayers, the negative Nellies, the dream stealers, the people that you might meet and you start the conversation all fired up and all excited about everything that you're doing, and all it takes is one comment, one look in the eye, and suddenly that fire that you had has been put out. Now, anybody that is running their own business, me included, knows that it takes a hell of a lot of energy, it takes a hell of a lot of hustle, it takes a hell of a lot of self-belief, it takes a hell of a lot of resilience, of grit, of determination, of keeping focused. It takes you going that extra 1% when everybody else has stopped. So why on earth do we keep these dream stealers in our worlds? Now, I tell you what got me thinking about this. Yesterday, I was talking to an awesome client of mine. And like many of us, as a result of 2020 and the incredible challenges that COVID threw at us in 2020. And those challenges that actually are continuing to impact us, as every single one of us, no matter how small or large your organization, your business, no matter whether you're in side hustle mode, startup mode, growth mode, the reality is right now, the world in which we are all trying to build our businesses, to achieve our goals, to reach those heights of success. It doesn't matter what it is that you're trying to do. We are absolutely trying to do this in a world that is challenging, it's ever changing, it's uncertain, and some of those decision-making cycles for clients might be taking a little bit longer. And so, like many business owners and many of my clients that I'm working with, what this particular client has had to do is rethink how she's going to market in 2021. Rethink her product mix, rethink her selling strategy, rethink how she's going to almost reshape stuff to ensure that what she is going to market with now is absolutely needed right now and is solving the problems that are needed right now. And it's great, it's exciting. We've got this buzz and this hunger back and this fire at the possibility and the excitement of what she's working on. But she was sharing with me yesterday that she was sharing her plans with some of her colleagues, her friends, and she sensed a negativity that was coming up. She sensed this feeling of they would rather me stay as I am. They're not questioning me in a way that is about my growth and about helping me succeed and about encouraging me to go for it. The questioning was very different. It was like this subtle dig that essentially put out the fire in her belly. Have any of you experienced that? So you've got this goal, this dream, this plan, you're excited about something new, and you go out there full of vigor and full of excitement, and somebody just puts out that fire. Have you experienced that? You know, it reminds me of a few years ago when I was still working in corporate. I had this very similarly interesting experience where for the first couple of years, whilst I was in a particular role, things were going great. You know, every idea that I had was being given those great applause and those high fives. Things were going really well. I had great support. We were creating massive change. It was awesome. A couple of years after, I actually started questioning and challenging. I started really getting curious about how we could change things up differently. And what was really interesting, my boss at the time, who had previously supported me and encouraged me and fueled the fire in my belly, it almost changed overnight. Suddenly ideas that previously would have been supported were cut down. Suddenly I was being very clearly and continuously put in my box. It was almost like the wings that I had grown were very quickly chopped off, and it was literally, Janine, keep your mouth shut, don't have any ideas, it's just business as usual. And as you can imagine, tension kicked in, and for me, I realized that this shadow that had appeared in my world wasn't actually motivating me or inspiring me at all. Actually, it was taking away my energy. It was making me feel really unhappy. Lots of sleepless nights, lots of tears, lots of angst, lots of frustration. And ultimately, that was coming home way too much. And ultimately, I ended up leaving the company. But the same happens all the time. Here's what I want you to think about. You know, how many times do you get a phone ringing through, a number ringing through, you know exactly who it is, and you don't pick up the phone because you're like, I can't deal with that phone call right now. What about emails that pop in, or requests to catch up for coffee, or hey, I've got this idea, and it's almost like you sit down and you do this big deep breath and you're like, oh, I don't think I can put up with that right now. Maybe that's a sign that you've got some dream stealers in your world. Now, when I spoke to this client yesterday, some of the words that were coming up, and I'd love you to think about whether there's some people in your world that are making you feel like this. She said things like, I feel like I'm being judged. I feel like I'm being judged. I feel like, actually, if I didn't change anything, if I just stayed the same, things would be all right. But because I'm challenging my own status quo, it's almost creating itchy jacket amongst the people I know. And then when I asked, tell me more about how that's making you feel, this particular client went, Janine, I just feel like all those ideas we've talked about, all of those strategies we've talked about, that excitement that I have, it's just been dampened. A fire in my belly has been put out. I feel like I need to actually put those dreams back in a box and forget about them. It's pretty sad, right? Pretty sad. So again, how many of you potentially have people in your world that are doing the same thing? People who, you avoid the phone calls. You don't reply to the SMS. You say yes to catching up, and then the day before you cancel the meeting. They may be giving you feedback. They may be commenting on your work, but you're really not listening, because actually what's happening is you're sensing that it's not necessarily coming from a place of lifting you up, of shoulder of giants, of encouraging you to become more, but actually it's about the dig, the subtle dig, and almost stripping you away of confidence, of excitement, of belief. So here's what I want you to think about. First of all, I want you to think about who those people could be. And then the question is, what are you going to do about it? If I just pull up my iPad for a second to sort of visualize this. If this is you right now, what are those fabulous dreams that you've got right now? And thinking about some of the people around you, and we all, with good equally comes not so good, a bit like that former boss of mine, a bit like my clients' friends, people that previously supported you and encouraged you, something's just changed. Just think about some of the conversations that are happening around you and some of those people that you know. And I encourage you to go, what am I hearing? What am I sensing that potentially is negative? And my challenge to you is, what impact is that having in terms of momentum? Is it putting a stop to your belief, to your actions that you're taking, to the momentum that you're putting behind your dreams, or is the commentary fueling those? Because ultimately what we want to get to is this future state. We want to get to, I call this in my Be Brilliant work, this new frontier of brilliance. And you can see there's a huge gap between there, right? There's a huge gap, but this frontier of brilliance, this future place, is this place where, you're achieving the financial success that you want, you've got the relationships in your world that you want, you're doing the activities, the personal high five moments that you're doing, you're experiencing this feeling of incredible growth and success and fulfillment. It's why we've gone into business, it's why you're doing the job that you've done, it's why you've signed up to actually build your own business and following your dreams versus, just going through the motions of that day-to-day paycheck. And you can see that there's a gap here, right? And the work that I do really talks about this gap is bloody hard to make that movement on your own. In fact, you can't do it. It's really lonely if you don't have the right people around you. So all of my work is very much around how do we build this right network of people, these people that are going to fuel our dreams, that are going to encourage momentum, that are going to lift us up, that are going to celebrate with us, that are going to hold us closely when the proverbial hits the fan in those low moments, that are going to make sure that with care, they're pushing us towards that frontier of brilliance. That's what I'm passionate about. And I absolutely believe that together is how we achieve that stuff. Jim Rohn said, you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Whether it's 5 or I talk about the key 12, the point here is who you surround yourself with are the people that are going to lift you. Now, what I want to talk about today is what about the people that aren't lifting you? This is what I'm talking about. These people that are keeping you small. These people that are actually stopping you from fulfilling that goal. So not the people that are lifting you up, not the people that are encouraging you to do more, not the people that are fueling your energy, not the people that are going, come on, I believe in you. I'm talking about the people that plant the seeds of doubt. I'm talking about the people that make you believe that your dreams aren't possible. I'm talking about the people that want you to stay exactly the same because ultimately it makes them feel safe. I'm talking about the people that consciously or unconsciously, because let's be honest, some people don't realize they're doing this, but essentially they're clipping your wings. They're chopping you off at the knees. They're putting you in a box. They don't want you to change. I'm talking about those people. So we don't want them in our worlds, or we've got to learn to manage them. So here's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about these people that essentially are going to help you get closer to here. You have a choice to make. You have a choice to make, and the choice is, am I going to stay here and put my dreams on hold? Am I going to stay here and become a coulda, shoulda, woulda? Am I going to stay here and get to the end of my time and have a life filled with regrets? Or am I going to make sure that I am giving myself, sorry, my face is gone. I'm going to make sure that I am giving myself the best chance, absolute best chance to achieve my dreams. And if that is the case, if that is what you are wanting, then it's actually asking yourself, what do I need to do to get to there? So here is what I want you to think about. The first thing is identify the shadows. Identify the shadows. Actually, you know what? Let me just change that color because I want you to be able to connect that with that red. So the first thing you've got to do is identify the shadows. Who are they? Now, this could be people at work. It could be the person sitting next to you. It could be someone within your team. It could be your boss. It could be a client, a supplier. It could be a family member, a friend. That when you actually sit down and think about it, they don't make you feel great about yourself. They don't make you feel great about yourself. If you're going to change anything, it starts with drawing a line and identifying these people. Now, I get that for some people, for some of you, you're going, it is my boss, or it is my mother-in-law, or my father-in-law, or whoever it may be. I can't just get rid of them, Janine. I can't just walk away from them. I get that. I get that. But the first step forward in changing this, in taking ownership of the impact that they are having on you, is you identifying and recognizing that impact. I am a massive believer in we have all got limited time and we've all got limited energy. And for me, I make no excuses for the fact that I would much rather have people in my world that are going to fuel my energy. People that make me feel great about myself, people that are encouraging me, people that are firing me up, people that are feeding me information because they want me to succeed, people that make me feel good about myself. I absolutely choose to surround myself with people who are positive thinkers, who are game changers, who are idea creators, who when they're questioning and challenging, it's coming from a place of possibility, not a place of stopping, putting the lid back on and throwing that bottle away, never to be touched again. I believe that there is only so much energy that we have, and I want to make sure I am maximizing my chances by surrounding myself with great people. I absolutely am very intentional about that. And at the same time, I can very clearly identify the people throughout the years, even going back into last year, that didn't fuel me in that way. And so the first thing you got to do is absolutely, first and foremost, identify the people that potentially aren't fueling the possibility, but potentially are putting out your hunger, your energy, your positivity, and dampening those dreams. So identifying is the first strategy. The second thing to then do is, this is where you have a choice. So right in between here is where you actually have to make the choice. And when I talk about choice, this is you. You're all grown-up people. You're all business owners and leaders. You have to make a choice as to whether you're prepared to keep going as is, to stay in status quo, to stay in that comfort zone, or whether you're going, you know what, this has got to change. I've had enough. This has got to change. My dreams, my passions, my goals, my purpose, my why, my family, all deserves to have the best ingredients, the best people supporting me to move forward. It's a choice. No one can do this for you. And so step number 2 is all about essentially taking ownership. Own the relationships in your world. And as I said, I am very, very, very clear in my world that I own positive relationships, relationships that fuel me, relationships that fuel possibility, relationships that push me to achieve more, relationships that are willing to teach me and share information so that I can get closer to that frontier of brilliance. Relationships that keep me on track, that call me on my bullshit, that don't let me get away with making excuses, relationships that care for me. I am very clear that those are the people that I have in the world, and I take ownership of those relationships. And at the same time, I take ownership that when the negative people appear, when those dream stealers appear, I decide what to do next. And that's really point number 3. Point number 3 is you being curious about your next action. You being curious about your next action. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you go and sack everybody from your world, that you suddenly move countries, or you suddenly move away from people. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is take control of the energy that you are letting in. Because here's the thing, once you are able to identify the people that aren't fueling you in a positive way, it's entirely up to you as to how you set the boundaries with that person. It's entirely up to you as to how often you see those people, how often you take those phone calls, what the type of conversations that you're having with those people. It's entirely up to you how much of their energy you let into your world, or whether you put up this invisible barrier such that you're not taking it on, you're not taking it into your heart and your head, and as a result of that, you're not letting it impact your goals and your dreams negatively. Let me tell you a little story on this. I had a client a few years ago. She runs one of the biggest franchises in Australia for swimming pools. And we were doing this exercise. And she literally had this moment where she went, oh my gosh, Janine, that is so many people in my family. It's so many family members that just don't get why I'm doing what I'm doing. I said to her, cool, right, not quite sure how you're going to manage that. But what I'd like you to do is think about how you can manage those relationships from a place of love, but at the same time, how you're going to manage them in the right way such that they're not impacting your business goals and your dreams, your professional goals. A couple of weeks later, she rang me up and she went, I've worked it out, Janine. I'm going to have a coffee morning at my house once a month. Everybody comes together. All I've got to do is host that coffee morning from a family place, from a place of love, from a relationship nurturing place, and make sure that I don't get into conversations about the business, about our goals and our dreams, about what my plans are, because every time in the past I've done that, that's where the tension kicks in. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to being curious about the next action you take. Another example could be, and this has been thrown at me a few times with individuals where they've gone, Janine, it's my boss. And what I've said to them in terms of advice, I'm going, your boss is your boss. The reality is you are employed by that company and part of your responsibility is reporting into that boss. You've got to decide whether the relationship has become so untenable that you're not actually progressing, or alternatively go, you know what, I am working with this person to get the job done, but potentially there is somebody else in the organization that I can connect with that's going to support my career progression, that's going to fuel my dreams, that's going to encourage me to keep learning more. And I think sometimes the mistake that we make is we expect too much of other people. We expect too much of other people. So, to wrap this up, I want you to get curious about the plans that you set yourself for this year. And get curious about the people in your world that potentially aren't necessarily fueling those plans and those dreams. It could be clients and you've outgrown clients. It could be actually your business has shifted and some clients may not actually want you to shift in that way, and maybe it's time to move on and to say to that awesome client, this is actually where our business is going, and I know we've worked awesomely together for X amount of years, but this is the way that I'm operating now. These are my current rates. This is what we are doing as a team. Maybe it's that. As I said, it could be friends. It could be colleagues, it could be family members. So get very clear, identify the people that are stealing your dreams, that are taking away the energy, that are not necessarily fueling belief, but instead are fueling self-doubt, unintentionally getting you to question the decisions that you're making and the choices that you're making, that may be wanting to put you in a box, that may be labeling you as you're only a mother, you're an accountant, but you're a father and so you need to do this. You've trained for years to be a lawyer. Why on earth would you want to become a PT instructor? All of those conversations. Get curious about who those people are. Then choose to own the relationship. Choose to own what you do next. And have a think about What could you do to ensure that you are managing the boundaries in that relationship in a way where you're in control, where you're not letting the negativity in, but you're able to make sure that you're investing your time and your energy instead into people that are fueling your fire versus those people that are keeping you small? So, number one, identify the people that are keeping you current as opposed to fueling your step forward to a new frontier of brilliance. Choose to take ownership of the relationship that you're going to have with those people. And finally, number three, get curious about what action you need to take to make sure that those relationships aren't keeping you small and stopping you achieving your goals. What boundaries do you need to put up to ensure that you are actually, instead of investing time and energy in dream stealers and energy vampires, you're investing time and energy in people that are fueling your growth, the right partnerships that are scaling your business, allowing you to achieve the business success that you want. If you've loved what you've heard, would love you to subscribe to YouTube or pop on over to Facebook and join my group over there and say hi, maybe even share what you loved. Even if you disagree or something, an extra question that you have, pop it in that group, message me privately, and I will be back here on Friday. See you then. Have a great day, everyone.